Okay, so those of you who've only just joined, that little warm-up music, I played that in honor of Brian Smith, who is an avid follower, and he has been sectioned under the Mental Health Act and is being held against his will. So he's been sending me music, and so I thought I'd just play that in honor of him. Interesting, isn't it? Is the lunatics are running the asylum, it seems to me. And I won't be able to put that music on the intro or outro because of copyright issues. And if you're on YouTube, you'll know they've tightened that. So I don't want to get a ban for copyright violations. So anyway, let me come across the screens. Let's see who we have here. Lots of familiar faces. Thank you for waving. That's sweet. And yeah, so wonderful to see so many of you. Oh, hi there, Michael from LA again. Yeah, that's nice. And yes, hi to Gina and hiya. So apologies for the confusion about switching to fortnightly, because after last week I said we go to fortnightly. I then realized that fortnightly would mean we would be in Easter Monday. So I thought we'll do it today and then we'll go to fortnightly. If bank holidays come up, then I'll still run them on if it's a Monday and a bank holiday. We'll just do it like that. Before I come to you, I just wanted to do a very quick intro about something that I am noticing, and I feel it's very, very important. And I am wondering if it is a form of sabotage, because literally over the past 2 weeks, from lots of different sources, and I may have mentioned in the last call, but I've seen it a lot and I'm going to mention it again. A lot of different sources have said to me, oh, Rachel, do you know Sasha Stone's an MI5 agent? And oh, Vernon Coleman, you know, he's gone off the track. He's, you know, or, you know, Sir Charles Walker is a shill. And I've been called a shill as well. I mentioned this in another video, and it feels to me that this is our Achilles heel as evolved kind of spiritual awakened conscious people, in that opening into that conscious awareness. It's so easy to fall into judgment of I'm more enlightened than you, or he's a bad guy and we're the good guys. And this judgment is the final card in the tarot before enlightenment, which is the world, number 20. It's the 20th card. And it's the final hurdle, and it trips us up. It's like Beecher's Brook in the Grand National. It's like the final hurdle that trips us up so often because we fall into ego. And if we want to be in unity consciousness, if we want to open to unity consciousness, then we need to be aware that everything and everyone showing up on the screen of our life is an aspect of ourselves. Some people may be wonderful and benevolent and lovely, and we say, yes, come into my world. I love you because you're an aspect of the beautiful part of me, or the part of me that I aspire to be. But equally, especially a lot of the bad guys, they're an aspect of our unresolved shadow. And in particular, the oppressive power over controlling forces that would dominate the world, as far as we can perceive it, are an amplified version of an echo from our childhood of that trauma of being powerless in the face of overwhelming external forces. And if we can go to the root of that trauma and alchemize it, bring it into conscious awareness and alchemize it, that is true mastery, that is liberation, because at that point we can just stand very strong in our center in the face of that overwhelming external force and just say, no, not this time around. I do not consent. I'm not going to be triggered into fight flight. No, I have a right to be here, and and to find our voice as well, because quite often when we're children, we lose that ability to speak out and we're frozen. We have a lot of frozen trauma in the throat chakra. So a lot of this speaking out and finding our voice, finding our strong no is incredibly healing. So I just really want to urge you just to be really cautious of this falling into judgment. And judgment is different to discernment. So just being the witness, just being the witness. Is this resonant? Isn't this resonant? Is this creating a dissonance in me? And if so, what have I got to unravel, to alchemize within me so that I'm not triggered by the externals? And then the external demons become gifts because they allow us, that they become clues on our own inner journey of healing and transmutation. So, and just to finally end on that, this unresolved trauma is the root of the persecutor, victim, rescuer, Karpman drama triangle. And I have experienced this many, many times as a business mentor over the years, is that when someone is in that place of victim with a persecutor, wanting to transcend it, they will often look to a rescuer. And it's very tempting for us to look for messiahs, to rescuers. Oh, Michael O'Byrne-C is going to do it. Rainer Fulmick is going to do it. Vernon Coleman's going to do it. Sasha Stone's going to do it. Some external messiah is going to sort it all out for us. And the problem is that when we place our faith in a human messiah, when that person fails us, we turn from victim into persecutor and attack them. That's the way the Karpman drama triangle works. So very important to understand that we are our own messiah. The only person that can fix this is ourselves, and it's an inner healing journey. And it's really helpful to come together with other like-minded people to create the safe space and the support group to facilitate that feeling of safety and allowing us to heal and alchemize. So I just wanted to open with that today because it felt really important to share it. It just reminds me of my very first difficult ayahuasca journey. It was the second time I'd done ayahuasca, and the first time she usually gives you a wonderful experience and it's all, like psychedelic-y, wonderful. And then you go in the next night expecting the same wonderful, and then boom. Well, this is what happened to me. It took me straight into a lot of darkness. And I remember opening my eyes and looking around the room, trying to get helpers. And the medicine just said to me, no one's coming to rescue you. It's just between you and me. There's no external savior is going to rescue you. We have to do this work together. Oh my God, it was the most terrifying thing. But I made it through, thankfully, and the dimensions opened and Krishna was dancing in diamond energy, but it took a lot of looking at dark demons and transmuting them to get to the Krishna reveal. So I just wanted to share that. Anyway, okay, so that's my little intro. And let's just see who we have on. Just coming across the screens. And so we have 71 of you on today, which is wonderful. So let's start coming to whoever would like to speak. Roger Manners.
I just want to talk about one thing today, and that's communication. We have to have some effective communication to be an effective force within the group and also within the world. So the only way I think we can communicate with you, because you're overwhelmed with the emails, is to do what I've done before and to post things on the comment. Is that okay with you?
You are right, Roger. I am overwhelmed with comments in everywhere I post and emails, and it is overwhelming, and I found it overwhelming. So apologies if I have not always responded.
No, well, you don't need to apologize because I understand you've got far too much to look at the moment. But if you're quite happy for me to communicate with you through the comments, that's okay for me.
Yes.
And you don't always have to answer. In fact, in a lot of cases, the the items I want to put on are for the benefit of everybody in the group.
Yes.
You know, I do a lot of research, and some of the items I find are valuable to all the group. And so that's if that's okay with you, that's okay with me.
Thanks for coming on and opening the show, Roger.
Just one other quick thing I want to say. I've already communicated this to you personally, but I just want you to know that I wholly agree with your concept of having a kind of a commune, because I think we have to abandon the system. The only way we're going to get out of this system is to abandon it.
I agree. Although I wouldn't call it a commune, Roger. I don't know if commune is quite the right word, but no, I totally agree. We need now to create an alternative reality to the one they have planned for us. And it's, to me, it's the only solution now. We just have to create our own reality under common law rights, human rights, and create the alternative, create an alternative economy, alternative communities, a network of support groups. It's the only solution. Yeah.
I agree entirely.
Cool. Okay,
Yeah.
Roger, thank you. I'm going to mute you back and I'm going to come to Lady Faye.
Okay, so I know I've only got 2 or 3 minutes. Firstly, I'd like to just respond to a couple of things. After people have told me a little bit about the ayahuasca journeys, I've begun to wonder if I accidentally had such a journey at one time about 4 years ago, but that's another story. Just a little bit of humour there. Secondly, the community idea, I'm completely for. I've always tried to find community myself anyway, but in our society it's been pretty difficult to find, so I've ended up as a single person, you know, isolated and everything. So I'm still very totally believe that that's the way forward. Currently there's a little move where I am locally with people trying to get together in actual time, you know, not on Zoom. So that's looking a little tiny bit hopeful. I'd like just mainly just to list, really, because I haven't got time to tell you about the things that I do to try to be positive in this situation. First of all, in the lockdown, I decided to actually protest on the roadside with placards, and I've been doing that off and on, still am doing it, but rarely. So that's called standing local activism. So otherwise, I've started doing something which is basically a mix of rebellion and celebration, which helps me a lot. It's part of my adjusting mechanism to this situation. But also, yes, it's meant to be a little bit of an activism as well. And I do singing in town, which has gone down pretty well. I did that because it said somewhere in the YouGov site, no singing allowed in public, didn't it, somewhere? So I thought, no, I'm going to sing, thank you very much. So I've been doing that, and the next project just coming up is dancing in town. And so I think we're not supposed to dance as well, I'm not sure, but I'm going to be doing it. And several people have said they'd like to join me this time, so all is looking well. And that's, I could say much more, but I'll leave you with that.
Okay, good. Yes, so Lady Faye, yes, that's wonderful. Flash mobs, pattern interrupting, singing, dancing, raising vibration, joy, having fun. I totally agree. The thing about the community, obviously at the simplest level, it's just finding a local group of like-minded people. And we have a wonderful little group in Yulgrave. Just, and, you know, 8 of us met on Saturday and we just go for a little walk and ramble, and it's wonderful. So that at its simplest form, you know, the second thing is finding local suppliers, like local organic farmers and people that you can buy from that aren't big corporate, so that aren't going to insist on vaccine passports. And obviously the next stage to that is to actually invest in land and create an eco community. And I can see people in the chat log are putting links to things like Diggers and Dreamers. So if you do a little bit of Google research, or rather DuckDuckGo research, it's quite easy to find lots of networks of people, of these where you can see what's going on and either create your own or join someone else's. But I really feel it's important right now. Okay, who else would like to come on? Alex Miles.
Hello everyone. Just want to say thanks for these meetings. It's the first time I've been on one of these today, and I've been listening to a lot about it. And what's really nice is ever since day one, I thought something very, very weird was going on. A lot of the people I know are just completely against what I see, because I love research. I'm a counsellor, and got degrees in counselling and health and social care management. And the reason why I'm on today is partly because of what Matt Hancock has said about people in care homes. And now, this is the idea, what's on the table, is mandatory vaccines, which is absolutely terrifying on many different lines, because my other job is a assistant team leader in a care home as well. So I've got 2 jobs. So because I'm highly against this vaccine, and most people on here will be, but if people are in the same sort of boat as what I could be, like with anyone in care, I've heard of something called kinesiology, which is a combination of, I don't know if people have heard about it, it's the first time I've heard about it, but basically it's a combination of Reiki and chiropractics, but it's designed to technically eliminate toxins and problems with the vaccines and things, to try and create more of a sort of imbalanced, natural person and things. So if anyone is in the same sort of boat as what I could be in the near future, there's still an option and things, still an element of choice to it as well. So if anyone wants to look into it, I would thoroughly recommend it, because it's certainly an option as well. The other thing is as well is I really want to try and create like a support group around Bristol, UK. And so if anyone's interested in anyone on here in Bristol, it would be great to sort of like meet up to actually create a support group, because there just seems to be so few people around here who actually seem to be awake to what is going on at the moment. And it's quite shocking in a way.
If you go to freedomcells.org,
Freedom Cells.
freedomcells.org, that is a good starting point. I'm sure you would find loads of people in Bristol who are like-minded. Yeah, I've kind of tuned out of mainstream media, so I don't know the latest horror of communications from the government. I don't know what Matt Hancock is saying, but and let's not grace these jabs with the name vaccination, because they are experimental genetic engineering, and what is going on is truly shocking. Truly horrific. It is a violation of human rights. It's against the Nuremberg Code.
Massively. And medical ethics, just straight medical. I mean, as a counsellor, I have to follow a whole load of different ethics, and one of the first things to do is consent.
Absolutely.
And it's just like, well, how can someone actually warrant giving this injection, this jab to someone without any sort of like real informed consent to it? It's positively disgusting.
You have more information when you upgrade your iPhone.
Yeah, this is it. And it's just absolutely shocking. I mean, how can anyone actually even contemplate mandating something that's just experimental? It's just unbelievable. But also at the same time, it's like, why aren't more people actually realizing, hold on, is this something like similar to what the Nazis did in the Second World War?
Absolutely.
Medical experimentation.
Absolutely. And I made a video about it yesterday, machine men with machine minds and machine hearts. And essentially this has been dreamed up by people who have stated openly that they are into eugenics and they are into global population control, and that the biggest problem on the planet is that there's too many people. And it's the same people that want everyone to be jabbed with this toxic concoction. So I mean, it's is it not so obvious?
Precisely. You know, all you need to do is just, I mean, I love research. So when I was up doing my degree, it's the thing which I enjoyed the most was doing the research, to doing dissertation. And the first thing we're basically taught is to look at the validity of sources. So my question is, so what I tend to do is I look at everything now. So whether it's in the media or for university academic work. And what I just find absolutely shocking is like, on the BBC on the day of this present lockdown, we were told this massive 75,000 people are dead. Small print, all deaths within 28 days for all reasons. And this was actually on the BBC. And I took a picture of it. And to me, that's like, okay, so we can't tell how many people have actually died of it, or if any people have actually had. But people aren't even questioning that. So even people into academic, I mean, my old counselling group, we have this whole WhatsApp group, and we talk so much about it, and none of them are actively even criticizing what we're being told, or even looking at things critically, which is what academics are supposed to be. Yeah. And I just find it shocking, because people who I know who did really well at academic are just not doing anything. A friend of mine the other day, or so-called friend, said to me, "You need to stop spreading misinformation." All I did was show him a video, and he said, "This is illegal." I'm just like, well, where's the critique here? We IQs just seem to have dropped, and people just seem to be very much, well, in psychology, it's very much, I thought it was really nice to hear about the drama triangle, because I specialize in abuse and things, and drama triangle tends to work quite well within that sort of frame and things, especially when someone's worked through a lot of the sort of height of the traumatic experience and things as well, and wanting to try and find their place in the world, so find meaning in things. And I just find it shocking, because everywhere at the moment just seems to be drama triangle in different ways. People who disagree with the vaccine, you are persecuted, you are killing granny, you are killing this person. Well, actually, all we are doing is trying to turn around and say, hold on, why aren't we actually criticizing what we're being told? So, for example, I don't know if anyone else has heard, but there's someone called Dr. Sukrit Bhakdi, who is one of the highest, most senior people in the world when it comes down to microbiology. He's actually been censored left, right, and centre. He was one of the people who actually signed the Great Barrington Declaration best part of a year ago, which basically said, and he basically said that what we needed to do was protect the people who were vulnerable. The rest of us need to go out and get on and do work, because the amount of times I get into, well, I'm going to call them arguments more so than debates, when people say about it's money or lives. Well, hold on. I mean, the NHS is paid for through the private sector, through profit. It's tax. You know, the government doesn't make its own money. You know, and at the end of the day, is what we're doing is asking people to give up their livelihood. So it's like, hold on, so how are we going to pay for the NHS? You know, and this is just basic economics 101 when I was 18 doing A level. And I just find it just shocking that people have just forgotten how to critique things. You know, it's like, someone on my council group said, we need to follow the science. Okay, the scientific method is about creating hypothesis and trying to build evidence to try and back it up or disagree with it. None of that's happening.
Yeah, I agree, Alex. Okay, yes, thank you. No, I mean,
it's just really nice to talk to you guys, because it's you feel partly going mad in your own head sometimes. So thank you. And also noticing on the chat, people were saying, I'm in Bristol as well. And it's just really nice. I'm not the only one in this town who thinks as well.
So you will get, if you're signed up to these calls, you will get the chat log afterwards. So there's lots of resource there for you in Bristol as well, Alex. So yeah, I mean, yeah, we're all incredulous about the nonsense that's going on. And it's gone beyond shocking. I mean, gone beyond it. Yeah. Okay, who's next? Lydia?
Hi, Rachel. Thank you. Just to reiterate, to agree with a couple of your points, I think there's a lot more people around than we think. I mean, there's a person on this call who, I was on another call the other day, and she happened to go outside, and I said, you're standing outside my building. So, you know, I had no idea that she actually lived in my building. So there's one. And secondly, So, and I think the thing is, it's about us having to reach out. So, for example, I mean, I've posted things on nextdoor.com. If anybody doesn't know, they are part of the Facebook network. So they get deleted immediately. But what happens is you get 1 or 2 people reacting, and then I've reached out to them. And consequently, I've now got a group of about 10 in my neighborhood. So I think it's always worth trying to actively reach out, because there are more people around. I completely agree that this is about, there's no one coming to save us. A friend of mine kept writing, you know, first of all to ex-MP because he was of a certain religion, and then hoping the MPs would save her. And I said, there's no one coming to save us. I mean, we are, as David Icke says, if you're looking for the cavalry, get a mirror, because you're looking at it. And just to underpin that, so as a consequence of reaching out to local groups, I spent a great day yesterday learning, doing a knowledge share, or learning something about common law, and principally the law of I. So it's a much simpler version of common law. It's just, you know, we're a woman or a man on the earth giving our energy. And I really feel that this, the kind of parallels with the 5D and the 3D consciousness, so that we know, you know, once you're integral, that you are a sovereign being. We can choose to then go into the world and contract with it sometimes, but it's about a choice. Similarly, if we're in the 5D world, we're also sometimes will choose to be in the 3D world. Yes. But it is absolutely, I completely agree, about us saving ourselves. And I found that common law has been very helpful, both on a spiritual and a practical levels, of about retaining bringing our sovereignty back. And then however we interact with the world and how we choose to react with what's going on is a choice from a place of power.
Yeah, absolutely, Lydia. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Let's come to Moni next. Moni in the reds. Hi.
Unmute. Hiya there. Namaste. What's up? How are you all? I've been getting your emails for quite some time, and today literally my attention popped as I went into my emails. You just came up, so I don't think there's a coincidence. And I'm keeping quite quiet in my own little corner. And I recently got offered the jab by my doctor. I've got fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue. I nearly died 7 years ago with chickenpox that went internal into my lungs, liver, and they were scared it went into my brain and heart. So hence I was in shielding. However, I'm at a point now where I'm really gone beyond it. And I'm really struggling with my mental health to try and figure out, you know, because there's people, I don't know if you understand, in the Indian culture, this is a mentality. The doctor, so the attitude is that your teacher, your doctor, and someone else, you almost look upon them as gods. What they say is a given. My parents have had their vaccines. I have to be honest, I did not utter my thoughts because their biology of belief is very different to mine. And so I did not want to give my thinking and my thoughts and my fears to them, because they've made that choice and they've done it. Touch wood, they're okay. I don't agree with it. But what I'm struggling with is like the separation of humanity, you know, one person, you know, believing, you know, one person believing this, another person believing, I mean, I've got my own set of beliefs. I don't inflict, but I do, you know, you put it so beautifully. It's not a vaccine. What did you say? It's an experimental genetic, what?
Engineering injection program.
I mean, my ears pricked right up when you said that. You know, when you also said to us about being your own Messiah. I mean, although since this lockdown, and it's been such a torturous time, I live alone, I've got a dog, I've just gone through a breakup. I'm really struggling to find purpose and really trying to find pockets of my own positivity with my challenges. So I'm speaking for those who are caught in that loop, who don't know how to act, who are struggling with their own issues, who, you know, I've stopped engaging with news, I've stopped watching all the governmental, I'm bored of that pantomime. I am a truth seeker. And in that process, being a truth speaker, I've started to realize how some people of my people are on that side and that side. And I'm so kind of like, whatever your choices are, your choices. I'm never going to inflict my ideas, but I have. Something's growing in me to say, no, this isn't right. Because there's going to be a lot of Asian people who believe that this is what the doctor says, this is what science says, and I'm saying that from an Asian background who really put every onus on the pharmaceuticals, the medical, and I don't believe that. You know, so it's finding the right team, not team, group, research, information. And I've refused the vaccine last week, and my doctor supported me because she knows how much health I've struggled with.
So Moni, do you have a local support group of people who feel the same way? I really suggest that you just put a little bit of energy into reaching out and finding it even has just a handful of people that feel the same way, because it really helps. Because from a trauma healing point of view, it gives you real base chakra security to know that there are other people local to you, not just online, but local, real people that you can meet up with. A lot of people in the chat have been talking about the stand in the park, which happens, and it was mentioned at the weekend as well, stand in the park, which is between 10 and 11 a.m. on a Sunday morning. So that's a good place to go, because you will find if you go into, I mean, I haven't looked into that, but please do research that, because a lot of people have mentioned that you could just go along and just get chatting to people and find that local network. It really helps to, from a trauma healing perspective, these base chakra security of knowing there's people, knowing there's security of home, people who can supply you food, your base needs are covered, and then it allows your nervous system to relax, because you're not in predator alert, you're not in survival mode, because you can start to bring it down. And that really helps with it just helps to calm the mind, because all mental illness, mental health issues are rooted in unresolved trauma, if you listen to Dr. Gabor Mate. So it's a very interesting, fascinating subject.
Yeah, I think there's another aspect that, and I think there's a level of people who just don't, I don't know, like we've got power within us, and I think it's like, how do we get that power across? How are we really heard? How are we really seen? When we live in a world, for me, being a Bristol Indian bird, that's how I refer to myself. I am so multicultural. I am so diverse. I speak 6 languages. And I just wish the world was like that, because when you start knowing other languages, other realms, your expansion of being, we are beyond our code of language, right? Yeah. For those who are so fearful and don't know their power, I'm in that process of wanting to understand how I use my power. What power do I have? What makes the most
money? So this is a really important point, is like, take it from global to personal. Yes, we all want to fix the world, but the very best thing we can do is to fix our own world. Fix your own world. Get your own little world sorted. And then your own little world connect to another little world that's sorted, and another little world. And that's how we're going to transform the collective. It doesn't have to be an all singing, all big. We don't have to be the messiahs. We just need to come together, support one another, and connect and collaborate. And there are enough people now that when this happens, we take our focus off fighting the system and putting it into creating the world we do want, the world that you're talking about. Creating it on the micro level, at the smallest little group, little mandala, even if it's just a handful of people. That seed is what that little tiny pebble of the ripples of that can go out. And if enough people do that, that's how we're going to transform everything.
That is really beautiful. I really value what you just said. Thank you so much. And you're right. Focus on ourselves. Making those micro groups is powerful. Thank you.
Okay, Connie, thank you. Thanks for coming on. Okay, let's come to Julie and then we'll come to Nancy.
Thank you, Rachel, and hi to everybody. I've been listening to the recordings for a couple of weeks, but it's the first time I've had the opportunity to attend live. So it's really great to be here and to also hear what everybody's saying, because I'm sure, like many of you, we find our own thoughts echoed over and over again with the way that other people think. So it's really, really heartwarming to know that there are others who think the same. I was actually just busy when you said, okay, you know, you can come and talk. Trying to find, because I wanted to respond to Alex, and that there is a website. I'm just trying to find the link at the moment. It's called Not on the Beeb, who've actually built a consent form that can be presented to doctors and nurses. I tried to attach the PDF file that I've got, but I can't attach it here in the chat. So I've just uploaded it to OneDrive, but I'll put the website link in so you guys can download it. It's got medical references to clinical papers, and it outlines the conditions by which the doctors or nurses who are forcibly giving jabs or wanting to make jabs mandatory could actually be tasked with signing so that they carry the liability.
Yeah. Where are you phoning from, by the way, Julie?
I'm in the UK. I've just got a background screen in Zoom because I thought it's nice to have a little bit of spring, but I'm not. I was born in the UK, but brought up in South Africa.
Okay.
So that's why the accent is a little bit different. And I'm really, really struggling with not being able to get out there and spend some time in the sunshine and with the white lions and all the rest of the stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's what I've been doing for a couple of years now. It's like really sacred time in the wild and in the bush, and taking pilgrimages of people.
Yes.
One of the things that I wanted to also echo and validate, which is what you said, is that what we are faced with now is a grassroots movement. That this is not about necessarily fighting the system. This is about us, and it's reclaiming our power. I think I said earlier in the chat, the freedom is an inside job. We need the people like Viktor Frankl, who've written amazing books, sort of trapped in a concentration camp, and came out with the most amazing philosophy and attitude towards life. Our freedom is an inside job, and it becomes stronger when we stop cooperating with the system. So I think it's one small move at a time in whichever way we can withdraw our cooperation from the system is one step towards freedom, because that ripples out. You guys would know, I'm sure many of you understand the concept of morphogenic fields, you know, that whatever we do imprints and ripples throughout the collective. Now, I'm sorry if I use scientific words. I am actually from a scientific background. I'm a biologist, but I've been involved in this alternative thinking and exploration, and I also study and research an incredible amount for 20 odd years. I do energy work. I loved what you said earlier, Rachel, about seeing Shiva with the diamonds, because my work is actually with diamond consciousness, which goes beyond a lot of the rhetoric of the new age, some of the new age concepts. And I would actually say to people here as well, be very cautious about transferring any of the Messiah, external savior things to ascended masters, to anything that you have put your faith in the spiritual world, because it's not there. It's here. Everything is here. So every small step that we do, that we make when we come together in community, even, you know, sort of 2 or 3 people, begins to make a difference. And Michael Tellinger's got a whole concept that people might be interested in called One Small Town.
Yes.
And the Ubuntu movement. So I would also highly recommend that people take a look at that in terms of self-organizing. I also just wanted to add, I don't know how many minutes I've been talking. Sorry, when I actually get speaking, I can actually get sort of quite animated and excited about things. But I'm also busy in the UK with a directory type facility, which I hope will actually bring together some of the disparate groups that are each initiating their own things, such as Trading Truthers and the Freedom Cells and all of those, which will give people an opportunity to come together to list their businesses so that we can choose and look for businesses and handyman or bakers or whoever who don't buy into the narrative. So building up a database. And that I'm actually working on the website at the moment, because that's just something that I was pulled to do from the inside a couple of months ago. All of these things take time, but as we said, it's one small step that really begins to change things in the collective. And I've realized that there's so much cognitive dissonance among those who've bought into the narrative that it's almost a waste of energy to try and argue with them.
Yes, exactly.
It's like, withdraw your energy. It's like, I'm just not putting my energy there anymore. My energy needs to go elsewhere.
Exactly, Julie. Thank you.
Yeah. So, and if I can just one more thing, just very, very quickly, Alex, I would say, love your idea, kinesiology. Yes, we can detox from the more traditional vaccines. It is known, kinesiology, homeopathy, and a lot of the natural methods will support detoxification from the traditional vaccines. This one is not possible. It's not. When it's in, it's in. Yeah. So it's taking a stand against it. I've also researched an incredible amount about the messenger RNA technology. So I would say to be careful about also recommending that, because I've also heard things about ascended masters clearing the vaccine from our bodies and what have you. And I'm going, no, if you have the jab, you've succumbed to the fear in the first place. It's a fear frequency that has actually resulted in that particular end result. So sorry, thank you very much.
Okay.
Lovely to be here.
Okay, thank you. And just to mention on that, Julie, there are quite a few people that I've heard of who are creating a database of resources. So it might, again, trying to find other people who are working on the same thing, a bit like when Marconi invented the radio, there were lots of people working on the same invention. So, you know, this collaboration of resources. I'm going to come next to Nancy, who asked, who I said just now would be next. Hi.
Hello. Hi. Yeah, so I always get a bit nervous about speaking, but I'm really grateful that I feel like this is the setup, what Monica was just talking about, what Julie was just talking about, which is getting the small step we can take on our own, but also that it's getting the people in positions of authority. They're not taking responsibility for the power they have. And as Monica said, people trust doctors, they trust teachers, they trust people in position of authority. But they're not giving informed consent properly under Nuremberg law. They're not telling people how these vaccines are different. They're not telling them that they're under an experimental status. They're not telling them about the false, high false positive rate on PCR tests. They're just, they're not telling them about the ethylene oxide that's in the PCR test. That's, risky as a carcinogen, especially on repeated exposure. And I think what we need to do, what my idea is that to develop some templates, a template letter that for doctors and for head teachers, that individuals, that we can spread through our individual networks, and everybody can take that small action to send that out to your local head teachers, to if you've got children in school, to your doctors, and to let them know that they have a responsibility under Nuremberg Code. They have a responsibility to inform people properly, and you can put an affidavit of facts. This way they can't look away. They're bound by law to look at those facts, to acknowledge those facts, and to take the proper action. If they do not do so, then they're acting in malfeasance, nonfeasance, misfeasance. So I'm kind of like coming to this group. It's obviously something I can't do alone. It's an idea I've been working on the template. but I feel like it just ties into a lot of what people were saying here on the call, that, you know, we can all take small steps. We're all that ripple in the pond, as Rachel was saying, like every little thing we do. And I do feel like, you know, it's grassroots. We've got to go. This is what they can't stop if we all take action, you know, across the board. And that's just something I wanted some, you know, maybe some feedback or ideas or about how I could take that forward and get that out to a lot of people.
Okay, Nancy. So if you look in the chat box, there is someone who's that has put Truth and Transparency has put a whole list of all of these templates and standard letters. So please have a look.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So thanks for coming on.
Okay.
Yes, you know, this thing about how do we organize ourselves so we're not sort of duplicating, because we all have the same feeling about what we need to do, but it's like, how can we organize ourselves so that we're working smart and not all doing the same thing? Michael wants to talk. Michael always wants to talk, so I'll give you some more time, Michael, as you are at early hours of the morning there in LA.
Only because you're just so awesomely on point with everything you say. It's like, wow, we're on the same track. I've edited shorter versions of my conversations with you and put them up on, I finally created a YouTube channel for the Mankinder Project. I was trying to get away from YouTube, but you know, it's where the people are. So
yeah,
got to do it. So hope you don't mind, but I made little versions of our conversations. And
please send me links then, and I'll share them.
They're in the chat. I already did in the chat, and I'll also email you, even though I know you're getting overwhelmed by too many emails. So I would officially and transparently like to invite you to be an advisory board member of the Mankinder movement, or you know, official, the whole corporate thing that we get down to on the further down the line. I'm babbling. So your ideas are so on point that I just want to put that out there, and I'll follow up in an email.
Thanks, Michael. That's very sweet. I've been headhunted. I haven't been headhunted for a very long time. I tell you,
brilliant.
If you want to get my attention on email at the moment, if you put phalange in the title, FALLINGE, as in like falling with an E on the end, that, because I'm putting a lot of attention in that inbox. So if you want to slip a message to me, phalange, put phalange in the title.
You got it.
Okay. Thanks. Good to see you. Okay. Who else wants to come on? Let's just come to the screen. So I'm just going to see who we've got on, because we've got 91 people on now. Helen wants to come on.
Hello, I'll be very quick because I spoke before, but I just had a really exciting update. I'm going to have to be careful how I phrase this, as it's in the public domain. But hypothetically, if you knew some people who were very deeply involved with what's happening and you got really positive information, you'd want to share that. So I share that. Timeline, difficult to say, between now and 6 months, but really, 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 really positive information from deep-rooted people who've been involved with things for at least a decade. So I just want to share the hope, because at the same time, suicide is off the charts and it's not being recorded properly because it's so high. So I think the more that we are, who are aware of what's going on, can do the work to beam out hope, is so needed into the field. And I was on a run on Saturday and I stopped at a beach and lay down, and in the air I saw all these sparkles in the air, no one near me, and I since found out that a lot of what we're now still thinking is geoengineering and chemtrails is actually it's an antidote to a lot of the nanoparticles that have been pumped out. This is a new initiative, global, that's come from a certain group. And that is a sign of how things are changing behind the scenes that we're not hearing about. So I just wanted to share that no, we shouldn't be waiting for saviors. Yes, we look in the mirror for the cavalry, but also there are deep-seated organizations that have been at this for a very long time who are making real headway at the moment. And I can't go into more details than that, but just the sparkles are coming through and they're healing. They're not going to rectify if you decide to get that stuff put inside you. Of course, that's a one-way thing, but some of them aren't as bad as others. But the one beginning with P especially is just horrendous.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, thank you. That's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to share that things are moving.
Yeah. Thank you, Helen. Yes, I agree. I know that there's a lot of deep work going on at a very metaphysical level. So I do have faith, but I feel a new world is being born, and this is a metamorphosis. But we just have to keep holding that center, and it's a difficult. Birthing is a difficult process. Can be quite a messy process, right?
Yes,
and can be quite painful as we transit from one stage of evolution to the next. Okay, so
can I just share one thing that I was asked to pass on? Is that is a really good, helpful thing to help things right now, and there's a lot of people already doing it. But if you can look at your local ley line and do some energy work to charge up the light through it, it's really helping move things out of the grid.
Yes. And that's another interesting thing, isn't it, Helen? Because most churches are built on the crossings of ley lines, and what's happened, all the churches have been closed. So it's really interesting, all of the singing and celebration and, the gatherings that happened on those ley lines has been closed down. I don't think that's by mistake. Who wants to be the last? Who wants the last word? Margot Mines? Margot, would you like to have the last word today?
Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much for having me on. It's my first time on the call. Sometimes we don't really know our life purpose or why certain things happen to us. I was born in Poland under communistic regime in 1970s, and I felt my heart was in the UK. So I've been living here for over 20 years now. I could see very quickly, what was going on, and the alarm bells for me personally going off pretty early on into this whole pandemic. I can't sort of make out whether to be more scared or whether to be more excited, because there is real change going on, and I can feel it, and I can feel the shift in energy, certainly since winter solstice.
Yes.
And now there is even different energy in spring, since spring equinox. I'm not sure if this is on my personal level or not, but
definitely the case.
Yes, but
there's been a shift.
And I do feel that even though what is going on and the prospects and all the testing and the pressures to vaccinate are very growing, I just feel this feeling of empowerment, because I have actually never been so secure in myself as in this pandemic. And last year I had an absolutely amazing year where I discovered so many new things and learned so many new skills. And I opened myself up to this shamanic journey that I'm on, and I embraced my spirituality even more. And I don't feel alone. It is scary what is going on. And I'm finding it hard sometimes to be gripped in this fear, but also I find a lot of strength in me as a person and in my spirituality, and also finding local connections is very important. I own a horse, and I keep my horse on a local farm, and the owners are actually a bit older, but they have got 3 children who are awakened. They are awakened to the truth, and they are trying to create this farm to be a healing farm, not only to have crops growing, but also have got have workshops and activities and a yurt there somewhere in on the grounds, so people can come in and have workshops and such likes to meet other people.
Thank you for coming on. On that note, I'm going to end the call here. I just realized, actually, I had a nagging feeling that something was missing and I forgot to do an invocation. So apologies for that, but clearly it wasn't needed. Clearly we were our own invocation this week. Sending you all lots of love. Have a great day. Bye for now. I'm just going to come across the screens just to check in one last time. Lots of smiling faces, lots of you on, and thank you for joining. Thanks for being on the call today. Okay, bye for now.